What's up? What's up? What's up, man? How you been? It's Marcus Cotto with Mike Mendez on Aesthetic Business.
What's going on, man?
Bro, it's been a while, man. It's been a
Yeah,
fucking
man.
while.
A
You
lot of
know?
things going on, man. I think both you and I got a lot of projects going on. Fun though.
Oh
It's
my
fun.
gosh, man. I don't even know where to start. Gotta possibly gotta I told you about the guy in my apartment and stuff like that. He's in the hospital. We cannot find this guy. He's in bad shape. So we're just hoping for the best, man. It's just kind of weird. He's a good guy, you know? Just weird.
Well, that brings up a lot of things, man. I want to start. We could start. First thing we'll talk about is real estate, right? We can just talk about overall what's going on with the market, um, and kind of what you're experiencing too. Because I mean, right now is the prime time for moving. It's a good season right now to move, and it's a good time to actually start rentals. So with that, fortunately, you got someone that maybe potentially may not be doing so well health wise. But what are you seeing as far as like vacancies? What are you looking for? Rent? Are you seeing people like ready to like move in really fast? What do you see?
Man, okay, so I'm seeing like a couple of different things on different markets, you know, because I'm in Florida, I'm in Texas when it comes to that. But when it comes to my big multifamily homes, right, kind of getting dinged on that a little bit more,
Really?
little bit harder. Yeah, definitely. A lot of people are not moving. They're sitting, they're just actually just sitting right where they are. So I had to take a different approach into with a lot of my, like, especially my commercial unit. Um, I can't, like, I'm not going for top of the rent right now. That's my strategy had to change. I can't go for top of the rent. What I am going for is sustainability, meaning like, hey, get somebody in there and I know they're probably going to stay there for about a good 2 or 3 years until this thing works itself out. But at least I'm at a place um, where I'm not coming out of any money, you know?
Right.
So that's one thing. So the strategies had to change. Um, it's for the better. That's just what real estate is. That's just business.
Yeah. I mean, that's really smart though to think about it because like everyone's like top of dollar. Everybody wants the most dollar, but also you go for the most dollar. Sometimes I think when how I hear you saying this is if we pull back the rent a little bit, man, we're gonna get the most applicants we can. We can kind of get a better choose and say, I want you, and they kind of feel like they're gonna get the best deal too.
Hmm.
And I think people are like you're saying they're trying to ride this out. People have no idea what's happening with the market. They're hearing everything's good, everything's bad, apocalypse is coming. Shit, I'm probably sure that someone heard there's a zombie, like me walking around the street. So,
Yeah.
right. So it's like we got all these things going on, and it's like, man, how do we navigate this? So I think some people are sitting there saying, we're just gonna sit, find a nice spot, we're chilling out for the next couple of years.
Yeah, and I'm gonna double back on that because I remember like 2 or 3 years ago, and I was like, man, I had this feeling. I was like, I need to get these certain type of properties because I know this market is about to, like. Remember me saying that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I actually feel comfortable and I'm confident with that decision, going for more C plus B minus places, because I just know the trickle effect, right? People ain't gonna be able to afford it up here. They're going to have to move to this neighborhood and then so on and so on. So I just feel really comfortable with what I'm doing and just the clientele or the renters that I am going after. So again, strategy had to change, but I think it's going to work out really well.
Yeah, and same thing. Like for my rental property, I don't charge that much. Like people are like, you can make more money. I probably can, but I got someone in there that's probably gonna live in there for the next 20, 30 years. I'm good. Like it's less stuff I got to worry about.
Yeah.
Um, you know what I mean? I think that we all got to have our strategies, and I think if someone has a strategy of I'm just going to get the most money I can, then it's like that's probably not a long lasting
Yeah.
strategy, um, right? Like things are happening right now, and I think that goes into the U.S. economy. Things are happening with the U.S. economy that if people are not prepared, which I think a lot of people are, they're not prepared for what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And like you said, if you have a really nice house and you bought it like what maybe last year, you probably bought it top of the market.
Hmm.
You bought it for so much, it's not worth that no more. Um, and some people are going to have to sell.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
I think people are going to have to sell this again. I was just talking about that insurance. Fucking nuts. Insurance has gotten out of hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Insurance has gotten out of hand in Florida. They're dropping people for no reason because it's just out of hand. Um, my Texas insurance has went up crazy, crazy. So I already know people who are owning, and if they bought at the top of the market and things are starting to add up, Insurance is
No.
probably going up $500,000. Property tax is about to go up. And this is part of when you're supposed to do your due diligence, right? Like where is the my bottom part? Like where is my rock bottom place of like, hey, I can still cash flow, I can still do well, or did I just give myself like this much room of error,
Right.
and that's what I'm seeing a lot too. So again, I have a certain amount with my rents. I can go very, very low, right? And still cash flow or just not pay anything. And that's my safe haven. I'm still far
Mm.
off from that, but some people just don't do their due diligence. They don't calculate anything, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, especially here in Lubbock, man, we saw for our property tax, one year we saw it like 2 years ago, we saw it 16%. And then this last year, which we got it with this now, is 13%. So that's 2 years of double digit appreciation back to back, man.
Yeah.
The first year was rough, man. The second year, you're at 13%. And what's crazy is like when you start looking at your property tax, and if it's in the rear, like it is here in Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
You start looking at things, and you'd be like, man, the market has shifted now, but people are still paying for that.
Yeah.
Um, and again, you have insurance, you have those things, and people are sitting there, and I think there's a lot of things where people say like, hey, your mortgage never changes. Like, what does not your mortgage like payment,
Mm-hmm.
but your escrow will change
Yeah.
because you're paying for property tax, you're paying for insurance. And if they go up, like $500 here, $700 here and there, and it goes back to back years, man, saying no to a Starbucks can only go so far. Like you
Mm-hmm.
might have to move. And did you plan that out? Now, as an investor, man, they told me that they can't call me and was like, hey, we're raising rates. And that's the name of the game. What do? You got to sit there and say, cool, I got to raise rent. I got to do this. I got to do that. I'm sorry, I can't do those things.
Yeah.
But if they raise it, more, what do you do? And you got to have a plan for that.
Yeah, you gotta have a plan for that, and then on top of that, not even just that, you have to be prepared for any breakages. Right? This ain't the time to be fixing shit. Right?
Yep.
This should be the time like you've already done everything, and there's nothing should have to be fixed for like a couple years. Right?
Yep.
So, and I think a lot of people are gonna ride that edge of like, hey, like for example, I need to get an AC unit. Right? That thing's on its last life. Right? Them things right now through the fucking roof. 7,000 easily right now,
Yep.
for an AC, and that would break somebody. That can easily break somebody's whole cash flow, probably for 2 years.
Yep.
You know?
And that's not to mention if you're like, you're not barely making it, or you're over leveraged and it just takes one thing and you're done. Oh, gone.
Yeah.
I think that's happening a lot too. I think a lot of investors didn't prepare enough, or I don't know if they got greedy. I don't know how to like the verbiage to say it. I think they're doing very well for a couple of years. It's caught up and they're over leveraged.
Yeah. I kind of feel bad for these flippers right now, right? The flippers right now, I would have to talk to a couple of my friends, but from what I'm looking at with material costs and things sitting on the market a lot longer, right? Is it even worth to flip at this time? Right?
Yeah.
Is it worth like because wood is a little bit down, but metal's up, right? Metal's through the roof, bro. You know what I mean? So it's like, do you is it a good idea to flip or is it a good idea to even buy? Even anything right now. Do you sit it out or do you get in because barely anybody's getting in and you can refinance later? I
Yeah.
I I honestly think experience this is an experience investing moment. And we're at a point where not even the experienced investors know what the fuck is going on. You know what I mean? They really kind of don't have nothing to compare this time to, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yep. And then it came out, BlackRock sold a lot of their portfolio that had real estate in it. So, when the big people are doing that too, you're sitting there saying, what do they know? What do they do? It's that question of, like you said, what's the playbook? There is
yeah,
no playbook right now.
no playbook and supplies low. Supply is
Yep.
still low.
And right. And then,
Yeah.
mean like we might get a rate hike, we may or may not. But even if we don't get a rate hike, that's still high rates, man. They're still going to keep going. Like they're like that. Um, there's different talk that they're going to deposit, they're going to go up, but no one's saying, hey, we're going back down to where we were during the pandemic of free house at 2% or something like that. So that there's no relief in sight for a while. You got to just sit there and say, are you going to endure where you're at right now, shelter in place, or hey man, the way I'm going to go through this one is just like we're going to gamble. We're going to throw Hail Marys and try to acquire as many properties as we can, and then hopefully we survive.
Yeah. First of all, let's just shout out to everybody who listened in 2020 with those low interest rates. Good job for not being scared. Y'all are sitting fucking big right now on your 2.25s and your 3.5s. Like, man, y'all are winning right now. Good job. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
But I would say come July, if your ducks are in a row, right, you may be on a come up. Right? You may be on a come up just because I know pricing is about to fucking dip. I just got a nice deal, right? About $23,000 towards everything I wanted off of the pricing, right? But I also think if you are prepared to play and you have your money stacked up, you may come up on a freaking lick that would never come again. And only the reason why you will is because the interest rates are so big, right? If you don't have any debt like that, there's only a selected amount of people that can even play the game, right? Because they don't have any debt. They know they're about to inherit a big mortgage, right? But they're playing the long game. They know if they get in now, right, 2-3 years down the line, they'll refinance.
Yep.
They'll refinance, boom, and then they're right back in the money because that's smart. Because 2 or 3 years from now, let's say if everybody's back, the interest drops low, we're back to bidding wars. We're back to bidding wars. You're not going to get that property where you think you're going to get it at like 2 or 3 years ago. No, it's not happening. So these are the rare finds, or these are when you come up.
Yeah, especially man with like, hey man, closing costs. We got closing costs in here. We got this wrapped into the thing. We're gonna actually lower this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna fix that. We're gonna get this right. Man, during the pandemic, man, if you can get anything fixed, it was like, dude, what are you a master negotiator? How do you know? Now you're like, dude, I want a roof. People are like looking at you crazy. Like, no, I want a roof. We're gonna get a new roof. We're gonna get a new roof. We're gonna get this. We're gonna get that. And like I said, what do? You're selling for a reason. You're not selling because you just want. You mean you're just trying to like liquidate your portfolio. Like there's a reason. So now sellers is like, why are you selling? And if you have a lot of investment portfolios, you didn't take care of them, and now it's coming due, somebody's not going to take it over unless it's a good deal. Yeah. So I agree with you. I think it's a good time.
And the thing is, like, this one last thing is like that, and what we haven't talked about is banks aren't refinancing. They're not refinancing. So that whole I'm gonna refinance and take my money out, that shit is not happening right now. No. So so that's another thing we're going through. Banks are terrified to even give you a loan. And and right now with the average price, I think it's gonna go down. I think it's about 400,000 right now, but I think it's gonna go down to about like 350, 325 when we get this dip, probably a little bit lower. But that's still, people don't have 20% walking around. They don't have 20%. They didn't even have 10% of that or 3% of that, right? Because they probably got it, but their debt ratio doesn't match up. It's just crazy. Wild times right now.
Yep. And student debt is about to start they're going to start paying that again too. So people, if you had that extra money, and so I think, and this is, we're having real estate, but it also like it goes into financial literacy, man. If you got 20%, like 20% is a lot of money. You start looking at some of these homes.
Mm-hmm.
And some people, it might take them 10, 15, 20 years to save up for that. You know what I mean? So it's a real shame. Like I said, I think there's a different talk that needs to happen in America where it's kind of like, hey man, housing it really is unaffordable in a sense.
Yeah.
Go sign up, go talk to the Army recruiter, go do whatever, because that's the only way you can, besides the USDA loan.
I don't have any sympathy for these motherfuckers though. I just don't, bro. I just don't. And the reason why is because ignorance is no excuse, right? We all have this stupid phone in our hand. This thing can do anything. It's all what you want to pay attention to is all the knowledge that you want to gain. If you're looking at bullshit, guess what? That's what you're going to do. You're going to look at bullshit, right? When I first got into real estate, right? I think I told you the story. When I first got into real estate and I wanted to be a real estate investor, the first thing I had to change was my fucking mindset, right? I had to start calling myself an investor, right? I was not even considering myself being an investor because I didn't have anything. That was the wrong mentality that I had. I
Yep.
needed to start already calling myself an investor. And when I started thinking and doing that, immediately everything changed. I started looking at things differently. I was looking at the knowledge. I was looking at videos. I was analyzing deals, right? Because I was an investor now,
Yeah.
you know? So,
It's all mindset, man.
it's all mindset, bro. So if you're going to look at TikTok and look at people get kicked in the balls all day, then that's what you deserve. Kicked in the balls. You know? So that's just my thing on that. And the early bird gets the worm.